Hello everyone, this is Brett and thank you for tuning in. Today's video is on Record Store Day 2023 and my picks from the extensive list that went out last week. Before I get started, if you're new to my channel, please click the subscribe button and I look forward to reading your comments on things you may be selecting for Record Store Day 2023. My list is going to be in alphabetical order. I will leave links to the Record Store Day US site and the UK because I'm going to give my picks for both of those. Everything will be in alphabetical order. Record Store Day is on April 22nd, 2023. If you're unfamiliar with Record Store Day, started back in 2008 as a way to bring some attention to kind of the dying independent record stores, and exclusive releases come out to help promote them. And I've been going to them since virtually the beginning. So here we go. These are my picks. Some of these I'm going to mention, I'm going to comment on that I'm maybe actually avoiding. The prices that I'm going to be mentioned, I pulled from Zia Records' website. Zia Records is an indie chain that's in the Phoenix, Tucson, Las Vegas area. So here we go. First one is a reissue of The Cure's 1993 live album Show. It was recorded on the Wish tour back in 1992 in Michigan, so it's been unavailable on vinyl for 30 years. Like all the Cure ones that have come out over for the Record Store Days, they've all been picture discs. This is no exception. It'll be limited to 10,000 copies. The price on this one, $44.99 for a 2-record set. So I went back and Sarah and I researched just what we paid for the last couple, including Wild Mood Swings. So on the August Record Store Day drop of 2020, the double LP picture disc for Blood Flowers was $34.99. The 2021 July drop for Wild Mood Swings was $39.99. And now we're up to $44.99. So this is a major label, Rhino Electra. So you'll notice the prices on these major label ones are pretty high. So I'm not sure about that one. As much as I'd like to have Show, $45 is pushing it. Next up is David J, Urban Urbane. David J from Bauhaus and Love and Rockets, an extensive solo career as well. This is on School Kids Records. It is the first time on vinyl for this one from his 1992 album, so it's virtually a 30th anniversary. Originally released on MCA Records. For those familiar with David J's catalog, this is the one that featured Peter Murphy, the Bauhaus singer, on the track Candy on the Cross. It's a 2-LP gatefold, and it includes a download that has an entire second LP of unreleased outtakes and demos, one of them featuring Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction, covers of T-Rex and John Cale. That's limited to 1,250 copies. As I mentioned, first time on vinyl, 2-LP set, $37.99. Next up, A Flock of Seagulls. This is it's called Rare Birds. B-sides, edits, and alternate mixes of from their debut 1982 debut album, which is a really great album. One record, it's a compilation that's the first time on vinyl for this. Limited to 1,025 copies, $29.99, and that's on BMG. Next up, this is the third in the Live Nico series. You can see I have one up here. Live at the Library Theater, 1980. It features a couple of my favorite Nico tracks, one of them being Afraid from the Desert Shore album and Frozen Warnings from Marble Index, both amazing songs. And then it has versions of the Velvet Underground's All Tomorrow's Parties and Femme Fatale. This is 1 LP, 2,000 copies, first time on vinyl, and it's going to be on a crystal clear light blue vinyl. Price according to Zia Records is $29.99, and these Nico releases have all been coming with these OB strips like you see up here. Next up, the Pogues, the Stiff Records B-Sides. This is put out on Rhino Records. The Stiff's record B-Sides is from collects non-album B-Sides from their time on the label from 1984 to 87. First time on vinyl for this comp. 2 records, 3,000 copies. A black and marbled green at $34.99. Now, I'm not going to be picking all of these up. Obviously, the prices on this stuff, they keep climbing, so it'll get whittled down for sure. Next up, the Sisters of Mercy, the Leeds kind of goth rock band, the Reptile House EP. So this is the first time this is getting reissued since its original run in 1983. So this is the 40th anniversary. It's been long out of print. This is the original lineup of Sisters of Mercy. These, if you have the Some Girls Wander by Mistake compilation that came out 30 plus years ago, the songs that are on this were all collected from those early Sisters of Mercy pre their first album, First and Last and Always. So you have tracks like Kiss the Carpet, Lights, Valentine, Fix, Burn. This is on Rhino, 1 LP, 4,500 copies, and it's on smoky vinyl, and it does have a poster insert. 1999, according to Zia Records. Next up, Scott Weiland, the late singer of Stone Temple Pilots. His debut solo album from 1998, 12 Bar Blues. This is the first time on vinyl for this one. It has 2 additional previously unreleased tracks and an unreleased demo of Barbarella. 2 records, 4,000 copies on blue and green vinyl, $34.99, and that's a Rhino Atlantic release. Next up, I was so happy to see this one on the list. Sarah and I had just watched this movie. It's one of my favorites from the 80s, the late John Candy, Summer Rental. The 1985 film, it's a newly remastered score by Alan Silvestri, who did the Back to the Future trilogy. He also worked on some of the Avengers movies, and it's being released for the first time on vinyl by the 1984 label. They did the Children of Corn reissue soundtrack that came out, I think that was last year, and they did a beautiful job with that one. This one is one of the regional focus / RSD limited, so it is super low quantity, 400 only in the US, 800 worldwide. And if you saw the film, there's that scene where John Candy is playing frisbee with his kids on the beach. The frisbee lands underneath this woman, and he has to grab the frisbee out. And so the color is Your Wife's on My Whammo Frisbee blue vinyl. So I'm hoping to grab one of those. I love that movie, and the soundtrack is actually incredibly memorable. It's $27.99. All right, next up are what's known as RSD firsts. So these get released on Record Store Day as an exclusive to Record Store Day, but the first tag means that it'll most likely be reissued at a later date in some other format, whether it's a different color or standard black, different packaging, whatever it may be. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna get reissued, but they may get reissued. First up is a new EP from Beach House. This is called Become on the Sub Pop label. It features 5 previously unreleased songs that were recorded during the Once Twice Melody Sessions, their album from last year, 2022. 1 record set, 8,000 copies on crystal clear vinyl, $18.99. Sub Pop always prices things really, really affordable. Next up, really excited about this one, the Cranberries, Wake Up and Smell the Coffee. It was their 5th album, released back in 2001. First time on vinyl for this, and it's the next one in a series that's been occurring of reissuing their catalog, which tends to point to the other albums that haven't been available on vinyl are going to get reissued as well. Produced by Stephen Street, who worked with the Smiths. Artwork by Storm Thurgeson, who did all those great Pink Floyd covers. This one is 4,000 copies on 1 record, transparent vinyl, $32.99. All right, Suede, the 30th anniversary this year of their debut album. I talked about this record back in my best albums of 1993. I'll leave a link for that in the description if you're interested. This is an import from Demon, the Demon label, UK, and it is the first time that these demos are getting released on vinyl. So we're having the original demos of some of those classic Suede songs from the first record, The Drowners, Metal Mickey, Pantomime Horse, He's Dead, Moving, the B-side to The Bird, Sleeping Pills, I think there's a couple of rehearsal tracks on there as well. 2,000 copies on clear vinyl, $33.99. Now these prices are going to fluctuate based on where you're at, but as of today, we pulled these off of the Zia Records site, as I mentioned in the beginning. Next up, Ian McCullough, the singer for Echo and the Bunnymen. This is also a Demon UK import. This is the 20th anniversary of his 3rd solo album, Slidling. It was first released back in 2003, has guest appearances from Coldplay's Chris Martin and Johnny Buckland. It is also a one record set, first time on vinyl, 1,500 copies on white, also $33.99, same price as the suede. All right, next up. This is an interesting one. So, Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime 2. I think I have the Operation Mindcrime 1. So, the original Operation Mindcrime 1 concept album came out back in 1988. So Operation Mindcrime 2 was a sequel to this, still with original vocalist Jeff Tate. A bit of a controversial album because the Queensryche's drummer, apparently Scott Rockenfield, didn't play on it. It was mainly comprised of Jeff Tate and the new guitarist at the time, Mike Stone, playing on the album. And Ronnie James Dio made a guest appearance on this one. So it came out in 2006. This is a reissue of that on the Friday Music label. Once again, it's an RSD first, so this will probably get reissued in the future. 2-record set. These Friday Music releases, get ready for this price. So translucent red vinyl, remember, 2-record set, $65.99 on Zia's site, but we also seen it range all the way up to $79.99. So I will be passing on that one, but I just wanted to mention that. If you are a Queensryche fan, yes, $65.99 to $79.99 seems to be a price range for this one. I don't know if it's pressed, if there's some like gold pressed into it or what, but crazy prices. Next up, also on Friday Music label, these two here, Sparks had a resurgence with that film that came out recently. This is a reissue, a 50th anniversary reissues of their first 2 albums, the self-titled, which was originally under their original band name Halfnelson, and then it was later changed to Sparks. Excuse me. Second album, A Woofer in Tweeter's Clothing, both released back in 1973. Both single LPs. RSD first, 1,500 copies of each. The debut is on red vinyl. The second album is on blue. $36.99 single LPs. All right, the next one. U2 always has a record store day release. This is a 40th anniversary celebration of some tracks from the War album. Two Hearts Beat as One / Sunday Bloody Sunday, the War and Surrender mixes. So what this is it's a 4-song EP. It has the original versions of Two Hearts Beat as One and Sunday Bloody Sunday. And then it has the reimagined versions of both of those songs that are on that upcoming Songs of Surrender 4-record set that's coming out on March 17th that has U2 reimagining songs from their back catalog. So, by the time Record Store Day comes around, that Songs of Surrender will be out. I'll be getting that. And I'm actually going to pass on this one. It just feels like to drop $23.99 on this, I will already have this. So the artwork looks interesting. It is 17,000 copies worldwide from our research. 7,000 of those will be in the US, 3,500 in the UK. It's on white vinyl. It comes with a poster. Those amounts were according to u2songs.com. But I was kind of disappointed with this one, the fact that really there's not really any bonus content that we haven't had before. So that's my thoughts on the U2 one. Unfortunately, I'll be passing on that one. All right, so the next list section is from the UK RSD list. I mention these ones because I know I have viewers that are in the UK, and also sometimes I end up grabbing some of these either through friends or ordering them. And there's some things on here that aren't on the US that I think are pretty interesting. The prices for these ones that I'm going to mention we grabbed from Rough Trade Records site. First one is, and once again these are in alphabetical order as well. So the next up is a reissue of Black Sabbath's 1978 album Never Say Die. This was the 8th album from Black Sabbath, the last one with in the original run with Ozzy Osbourne on vocals before Dio came in. And it contains a reproduction of the original 10-year war brochure. It's one record, transparent light and blue splatter. It's limited to 2,000 copies. This is on BMG, a major label. £33.99, which translates to $40.99 in US dollars. One record set, $40. One record, not a set. $40.99. Next up, the great Durutti Column, Manchester original Factory Records band, featuring Vinnie Riley. This is Treatise on the Steppenwolf and Human Avatars, released on Factory Benelux. It's the first vinyl edition of this soundtrack album from Durutti Column. It's scored this performance piece by an experimental theater group. It was staged in Glasgow back in 2003, adapted from the novel by Hermann Hesse. This combines studio recordings of those 12 pieces performed live, along with 3 long and previously unreleased tracks from the Human Avatars art installation at Manchester in 2005. 2 records, first time on vinyl, 1,000 copies on black vinyl, £29.99, $36.17 USD. Just for comparison with that and the Black Sabbath, the Durutti Column is a 2-record set at $36 US. The Black Sabbath is a 1 record for $41 US. Next up, the March Violets. Some of you guys remember them from the Some Kind of Wonderful, the John Hughes film soundtrack. This is actually a first time on vinyl of technically their first album. So when they existed in the early 80s, they released singles and they broke up before they ever ended up recording a full-length album. So back in 2013, they did a Pledge Music campaign and they released a limited CD and digital for this album called Made Glorious. So this is the first time their very first album will be released on vinyl. It is a 2-record set. It's going to be on purple, 750 copies on the Jungle record label, £27.99, $33.76 US. So once again, another 2-record set on an indie label for $33 versus $41 for a single set major label. Crazy. All right, next up, Pixies, the demos. So back in 1987, Pixies had this demo tape known as the Purple Tapes, which had 17 songs on that. 8 of those songs was pulled out, and it made up their Come On Pilgrim, which is their first, if you consider it a mini album, some people consider it their debut. So the 9 other songs were on this release that came out in 2002, also kind of referred to as the Purple Tapes or demos. So this is the first time it's going to be on 10-inch. So sometimes the wording is misleading. It's not the first time it's been on vinyl because it did come out years ago, but this is the first time on a 10-inch EP. So it's going to be 3,000 copies on purple vinyl. It includes, the original demos of songs that ended up on Surfer Rosa, or maybe actually Doolittle, Here Comes Your Man. So $25.99 in pounds, $31.34 in US dollars. Next up is the 11th album from the Scottish band Simple Minds, another John Hughes reference here from The Breakfast Club, Don't You Forget About Me. So this was originally released back in 1998, and this is going to be the first ever vinyl pressing of this one. 1 LP on green, 1,750 copies, $30.99 pound, $37.37 USD. Next up, Tears for Fears, Saturnine, Marshall, and Lunatic. This is a collection of B-sides and rare tracks that were from the band's time on Mercury. So collecting all B-sides and rarities from 1983 to 93, so including tracks from B-sides and stuff from The Hurting, songs from The Big Chair, Seeds of Love, Elemental. This was originally released in 1996 on other formats, but it's the first time on vinyl. 2 records, black vinyl, limited to 2,000 copies on Mercury Records, $38.99 pound, $47.02 US dollars. All right, we're getting to the end here. So next up is Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous, Hammersmith, November 14th, 1976. So this isn't the Live and Dangerous album that came out in 1978. This is one of the shows that comprised that tracks were culled from to make the Live and Dangerous album. If you recently were lucky enough to get one of the Live and Dangerous super deluxe edition CD box sets, this complete show is on there in CD. Sounds great, love it. The whole box set is incredible. So this one show from November 14th is from the Johnny the Fox tour, and it is a 2-record set. First time on vinyl, black vinyl. It's limited to 1,600 copies. $38.99 pound, $47.02 US dollars. These Thin Lizzy shows are great, amazing band. Yes, not sure if I'll be grabbing that one because I do have that box set. All right. Lastly, this is one that I'm also really, really excited about. This is the Virgin Prunes, the debut EPs. So, released before the 1981 singles A New Form of Beauty and their 1982 album If I Die, I Die, which you can see back up there. It's a double 10-inch collection with their debut EPs, featuring their self-titled debut EP, and includes 6 rare tracks which haven't been available physically or digitally for over 40 years. So it's a one blue 10-inch, one white 10-inch. They're bound together by a paper band as they were originally released. Limited to 500 copies, $29.99 pounds, $36.17 US, and that is on BMG as well. If you're unfamiliar with Virgin Prunes, just very hard to describe. You can call them post-punk. Some people call them goth rock. They are a bit uncategorizable Irish band. So that completes the list of things that were of interest to me. There's also on the UK list, Susie and the Banshees, A Kiss in the Dream House is getting a reissue as well. I already have that, so I'm not really mentioning that in my list. But lots of stuff. Obviously, with the prices and availability, I will do a follow-up video once Record Store Day occurs and show you what we ended up grabbing. So let me know your thoughts, which records are of interest to you and which ones you may be getting that I haven't mentioned. And I look forward to reading your comments. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.